It is 9 p.m. in Djibouti. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight's headlines, we have Prime Minister Abdelkader Kal Mohammed preside meeting on improvement in judicial system. Concerning trade, first point of halts of Duda milk produced in Djibouti. For international scene, despite the obstacles launched of women are candidates for the legislative in Afghanistan. Welcome to our newsroom as part of the follow-up the implementations of the commitment arising the thematic from meeting launched by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margele, in April 2018 to better coordinate the actions of the government in order to complete the socio-economic reforms. Prime Minister His Excellency Abdelkader Kal Mohammed chaired this morning a meeting on justice. Several members of government took part in this meeting, namely the Minister of Justice, the Minister of Interior, and the Commissioner for Planning and Statistics. The Secretary General of the government also took part in this meeting, the head of the court, as well as the Attorney General and senior officials of the Presidency and the Prime Minister's office. Prime Minister recalled in his opening address that this meeting was intended to take stock of the commitment made to the President of the Republic during the thematic consultations to improve the functions of our judicial system. The Minister of Justice and Head of Jurisdictions reviewed the initiative undertaken to improve the functions of the judicial system, including the accelerations of the drafting of judicial decision, the draftings of sentence, the filling of the publications of decision. They also raised the multiple challenges facing the judicial justice system. In accordance with the instructions of the President of the Republic, Prime Minister asked participants to continue their effort to better bring justice to the people. This follow-up and consultation meeting with the Department of Justice at the Prime Minister's follow similar meetings with the Department of Transport and the Ministry of Labor. For his part, the Prime Minister Abdelkader Kal Mohammed's office, the Prime Minister's team had prepared fact sheet on the commitment made to the President at the meeting on 8 April 2018. The main project of the meeting focused on the achievement of this commitment and the difficulties encountered. He said that justice is a public service that is the subject of some criticism that underdetermine the perceptions of justice despite all effort. At the end of the meetings at the Prime Minister's office, the Minister of Justice, Momin Ahmed Sheikh, returned to the highlights. The Justice Department will continue its effort to bring justice to the people, he said. The members of the France-Djibouti Business Group GAFT welcomed this Wednesday, October 17, 2008. Mr. Momin Ahmed Sheikh, Minister of Justice and Plenipotentiary Affairs in charge of human rights. In his opening speech, Mr. Momin Ahmed Sheikh spoke of his ministry's work for the modernization of justice as well as the effort to streamline court procedures and improve the business climate. These reforms are aimed at restoring business confidence and promoting Djibouti's economic development. The minister understands commitment to making legal certainty to invest of a priority, referring to the reforms undertaken as such as he discussed the recastings and the entry into forces of a new civil code, a new code of civil procedures in April 2018, as well as the structuring and computerizing of the court. With the help from the European Union, improving the business climate requires confidence in justice, which must be held alongside the private sector. During the ensuing discussions, the director of the GAFT discussed the issue of timelines, impartiality of justice, and enforcement of decision. The questions of accessibility of the legal text was also raised. The member of GAFT thanked the Minister of Justice and Plenipotentiary Affairs for his frank and open answers. This money has promised them to come back in a year to take stock of the issue addressed. After the first meeting of the businessmen of Djibouti, the Minister of Justice returned to the presentations at the meeting to improve the business climate in our country. A delegation of the National Assembly led by the President of the National Assembly, Mr. Mohamed Ali Ahmed, participates since October 14 in the work of the General Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, which officially opened Sunday, October 15th in Geneva in Swiss. The IPU Foundation brings together more than 1,300 parliamentarian and parliamentary staff from around the world. The work will last until 18 October 2018 in Geneva. The theme of this meeting will be the crucial role of Parliament in promoting peace and development in the era of innovation and technological change. All statutory bodies, including the Governing Council, the Standing Committee, the Committee of the Human Rights of Parliamentarians, the Committee of Middle East Questions, the Forum of Women Parliamentarians, and the Forum of Young Parliamentarians of the IPU will exchange during Geneva sessions. In the margins of the meetings of the 139th IPU Assembly and the 205th round sessions of the IPU Governing Council, the delegation of Djibouti took part in the consultation session of the Arab, Islamic, and African parliamentarian geopolitical groups, which were held at the conference center in Geneva. This meeting aimed at coordinating the positions at the ones of others on the topics of the current event. This will be discussed, debated, and adopted by the IPU meetings. The aim is to reach consensus of the issue of interest to Arab people and countries. A first wholesale point of the sale of the milk, Douda milk, was inaugurated today. This point of sale is located in the city centers near the old central market and occupies the premises of the old butcher's good meat. Several members of the government and parliamentarians took part in this opening ceremony. The presence of the Minister of Commerce, the Minister of Women and Family, the Secretary for State and Social Affairs, the Minister of Commerce Hassan Ahmed, and the presence of the Somali delegation is led by Ms. Hinda Jama Hersi, Minister of Labour in Somaliland. This initiative of the creation of a point of sale and distribution of branded milk, Douda, belong to a young entrepreneur, Ms. Khadija Abdullahi Isse. It wanted to contribute to the large distributions of this essential product to households and families. That's why she called in her introduction word that we must privilege local brand made in Djibouti, those imported from abroad. According to her, by doing so, many Djiboutians are allowed to work, and we are boosting the national economy. For his part, Mr. Hassan Ahmed Bilili, UNIFT representative present at the ceremony, was pleased to attend such a ceremony of inauguration of the first point of sale wholesales of brand Douda. She was pleased to see a woman at the head of this Douda milk distribution center. For her part, the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Ms. Muna Osman Adens, emphasized the nutritional quality of this Douda brand dairy product. She invited the entire population to consume made in Djibouti. It is which will boost the national economy and creations of employment. The Minister of Women and Family paid tribute to the effort of young entrepreneurs Khadija Abdullahi's sense of work and her choice of work to raise the images of the Djiboutian brand Douda. For his part, the Minister of Trade Hassan Ahmed Arbahim said that Douda brand products are very good products from a very modern factory, and he called on all compatriots buy locally from this new distribution center. The Minister of Defense in charge with the Parliament relations, His Excellency Ali Hassan Bahdoun, received this afternoon, Wednesday, October 17, 2018, the courtesy visit of the new ambassador of the People's Republic of China to the Republic of Djibouti, Ms. Zhuo Fucheng. The ambassador was accompanied on these occasions by his military attachment. Note that this meeting took place in the presence of the Djiboutian side of the commanders Ilyas Abdullahi Gele, head of cabinet of the Ministry of Defense in charge with relations with the Parliament, and the technical advisors of the Minister, Mr. Iltire Ibrahim Farah. This meeting was an opportunity to review the solid cooperation that existed between the two countries and the special ties that have united the two peoples for more than 14 years. In his visit, the ambassador expressed his warm thanks to the defense ministers in charge with the relations of Parliament, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdoun, for the support that the Djiboutian authority reserved to the establishment of the first Chinese base in Africa. For his part, the Minister of Defense in charge of the relations with the Parliament highlighted the secular relations of friendship between the Republic of Djibouti and the People's Republic of China, expressed the wish to see the consolidations continue cooperation between the two countries. Vice Ajab camps at the welcomed early this morning of October 18, 2018, the closing ceremony of the training and preparations of the Hill 6th Battalion. The colorful ceremony was presided over by the Minister of Defense in charge of the relations with the Parliament, His Excellency Ali Hassan Bahdoun, in the presence of the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. Also participating in this ceremony, Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed, Chief of the Defense Staff, the General Commanders of the French Forces stationed in Djibouti, the Director of the National Police, the Chief of the Staff National Gendarmerie, the Prefect of the Region of Arta, Mr. Abdullah Dar-Al-Okiye, the President of the Regional Councils of Arta, and the great leaders of the Djiboutian Armed Forces. This ceremony closed the training of Hill 6 battalions in terms of training and operation arrival and down. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim first attended the visit of honors established at the entrance of the camp, Vice Ajab. Then the Minister of Defense in charge of the relations with the Parliament, His Excellency Ali Hassan Bahdoun, accompanied by the Chief of the General Staff, Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, together performed the review of the troops, the Hill 6th Battalion. They commanded by the battalion's commander, Roble Mohammed Abdallah, is intent to raise the Hill 4 Battalion at Jalalakhsi in the Hiran region under Djibouti Command. Note that the Republic of Djibouti deployed since 2011 under the banners Army some 2,000 soldiers engaged in the process of restoring peace in Somalia. These 2,000 soldiers organized into battalions are mainly active in the region of Hiran, located in Sector 4, which is under the Djiboutian command. In the first place, the Chief of the Staff of the General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim made a point of addressing all the members of this formed battalion. He congratulated and seriousness they will demonstrate through their training and wished them an excellent success in their missions. Similarly, the Minister of Defense in charge with the Parliament relations, His Excellency Ali Hassan Bahdoun, he said the government representative encouraged the entire Hill 6 Battalion of their effort and said he was proud of these men. Let's listen to The Minister of Health, Dr. Jama Al-Mawki, chaired an important meeting in his office to prevent the crisis associated with the possible torrential rain on the national territory. The meeting was attended by the Acting General Secretary, Dr. Saeed Gelle, officials from the country's various hospitals and all the heads of the central directorates of the Ministry of Health. The Minister of Health has activated the crisis unit set up during the last cyclone Sagar to cope with the health consequences of rain and water stagnations. The activations of the crisis unit is a key element of the Ministry of Health response mechanisms for crisis and disaster management. This unit will be in charge of the deployment, piloting of prevention and case management activities. During this period, this will include the availability of the medicines, drug agent and consumable at key structures. The National Institute of Public Health, meanwhile, will be in charge of spraying insecticide spraying and larval breeding in the capital and in the chief of the region. The Minister of Health urged the populations to be more vigilant and invite him to observe effective hygienist measures concerning both the supply and the storage of the drinking waters and the use of latrines. The other important point of the meeting is the postponement of the planned national polio campaign from 18 to 21 October 2018 at that later date. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, today sponsored ceremony for the delivery of the textbook and booklet, the book of the Plains for first-year students in Braille at the service of children with special needs. The Minister, accompanied by the General Secretary of the MINFOP, Mr. Muhammad Abdullah Mahyoub, was welcomed by the head of the Special Needs Children's Department, Mr. Idris Mumin Abdi, and the President of the Lions Club of Djibouti, Ms. Melanie Quirino, and the senior responsible for MINFOP and Lions Club. Then the Minister and his delegations were led into the classrooms to take a closer look at the practical teachings of children with special needs. These visually impaired children had a reading sessions on the book on the plane in front of the official. Then the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, and his close collaborators followed a practical demonstrations activity of the use of the booklet in the classrooms provided by students of the classrooms of the first year. The Minister and his entourage took part in these various school activities, manipulations, puzzle, math exercises and games with the students. This operation was made possible through the cooperation between Crippen, Lions Club and Publishing House of Braille Manual and Booklet, which has transformed ordinary textbook into the Braille textbook. It must be said that this is a first in the education system, is part of the effort of the MEFOP that want to provide all children in the countries a quality school. Like the rest of the world, Djibouti celebrated yesterday, Wednesday, at the People's Palace World Day of the Sight and Came, organized by the Djiboutian Association of Blind, better known by his acronym ADDA, in partnership with the Secretary of State for Social Affairs. The commemorative ceremony began a collective work for the day's famous and was also an opportunity to highlight the blind and the glaring makes solutions that can address the constraint faced by the visually impaired in everyday life. This event brought together the Secretary General for Social Affairs, the General Secretary, Ms. Ifrah Ali, and the President of the Networks of Disability Associations, the President of the IDA, Mr. Idris Mumin Abdi, and the advisors to the President Affairs, the Director of the National Agency for Disabled People, Mr. Douale Said, and thus the representative of the WHO Konate Abdullahi, and representative of the UNDP, representative of Al-Rahma complex, Mr. Mahmoud Roblebouh, and several civilians. All these beautiful people had particular attention for the many visually impaired present on the spot. Both listened attentively to the speech that punctuated the day, rich in emotions. The day was mainly marked by the participation of students from the schools of visually impaired who read texts in French and Arabic and English in front of the guests. The facts demonstrate the significant effort that the Djiboutian Association of Blind People is conducting to integrate its young people into the society. The Minister of Labour, Women and Social Affairs of Somaliland, Hinda Jama Hessi, is in Djibouti for 2 days working visit to our country since yesterday, accompanied by the Minister of Women and Family, Ms. Mumin Ahmed Hassan. She had a series of talks with the Minister of Labour, the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, the Minister of Education in the morning yesterday. These markings are aimed at the strengthening of cooperation between Djibouti and Somaliland in the area of women's work, always accompanied by the Minister of Women. She went yesterday to Arta and she met the local authority for fruitful exchanges and to share a moment of relaxation in these summer villages with a pleasant climate. In the afternoon, the Somali Ministers of Women Affairs and Social Affairs had a meeting with women parliamentarians from Djibouti at the headquarters of the IFAD. The persistence of the bad weather is due to the convergence of the trans-equatorial air. The monsters bathed with the intertropical front lines over the Horn of Africa, giving rise to precipitation in the late evening and early morning sometimes. Sectors is moderated to low, good visibility and rosy in agitate. In our next images files of the day tonight, we will be interested in a phenomenon that has a tendency to generalize lately. Our images of day or precisely our video shoot of Moose along symbolizes the incivility of some motorists in the capital. This bus you see is parked on a part of the solid ground in the middle of the Sheikh Osman Avenue, which along the ministerial city. An image is certainly unusual for some, but which justify the first considerations of the driving. This considerably hinders the flow of traffic, the busy road, and increases the risks of accidents for road users. The dead body of the late Kafia Ahmed Awali, the sisters of Mohammed Ahmed Awali, the Minister of Agriculture, who died on October 11, 2018 in Lyons, will arrive in Djibouti on Saturday, October 20, 2018 at 7 a.m. at Djibouti Airport and will be brought directly to Pika 12 centimeters. The commemoration of the Mawlid will take place on Saturday, 20 October 2018 at the neighborhood 526 Street. Concerning the international scene, hundreds of women ran for legislative elections in Afghanistan. On the 2,000 candidates running for the Afghan legislatures on Saturday, October 20, 16% of women record figures that masks the difficult path of women candidates and even elected. Listen to this report.
Hundreds of women ran for legislative elections in Afghanistan. On the 2,500 candidates running for the Afghan legislatures on Saturday, 60% are women, a record figure that masks the difficult path of women candidates and even elected. As the campaign progressed, her yellow scarf became the symbol of her candidacy. Zakiya Wardaq, an engineer by training, is the one of 417 women running for a seat on Saturday at the Walisi Jiraka, the lower house of the Afghan parliament, a record figure. There were 328 candidates in the legislative elections in 2005 and 406 in 2010.
This is it for tonight news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.